Hey interwebs, welcome to round 2, or should I say match 2, of my Silph League PvP tournament for the month of October, the Sinister Cup. Before we get started, I want to show my opponent's team, so you see exactly what I got to go up against. I can run into any of the 3 Pokemon for this particular set of battles. Metachan, Steelix, Alolan Raichu, Claydol, Poliwrath, and Duskull. I think we're going to start seeing some more ghost types in the mix. I also decided to follow my example from the previous match and lead off with my Gardevoir to take care of the Metachan or Poliwrath if either of them decide to lead off sinks. And so far it seems to work to my advantage, because as you'll see when the battle starts, my opponent leads off with the Metachan. And one thing I forgot to mention about Gardevoir in the last set of battles, being Psychic Fairy, it quad resists any fighting type moves. And considering Metachan's role in this particular cup, probably just as much as a Psychic user as a fighting user, nay I say even more so, having Gardevoir is significant to my advantage, especially because I find out later on my opponent has a Poliwrath. Which makes you probably ask yourself right now, Jackie K, why aren't you preserving your Gardevoir for when the fighting type Pokemon come back out? And to that I reply, remember in team preview when I said I never use Shadow Ball? Well, I forgot about this. And honestly, I probably was better off not using the Shadow Ball and actually preserving my Gardevoir for later. I don't have the calcs up in my head, so I don't know if that Shadow Ball would have taken it out. I would assume so, because it's weak to it. But it was also an obvious shield. And in my head I'm like, no worries. Poliwrath's got this. Poliwrath's gonna just build up his attacks on this Alolan Marowak, and then just sweep the rest of the team just like last match. If only it was that simple. If only. Well, for one, my opponent's a little bit quicker on the button. And it's going to start stacking up its own power-up punch. 2 can play the diddle game, I say. But we'll see if that strategy will stay. Cause, yeah, I really should have gone for the Hydro Pump. I don't know why I was getting so freaking greedy, considering I'm on the verge of death. And I guess I was afraid of that shield. Sure, that's the thing, and I guess with how often I'm getting my power-up punch, I'm not really getting a chance to see how much damage I'm taking in the process. But yeah, I'm down to my last Pokemon. Guess what? It's weak to fighting. I think you see how this is gonna end. But I'm gonna try, dear viewer. Trust me, I am gonna try. I'm able to take out the Metachan, but it basically comes down to this Poliwrath. And honestly, I think this is where I find out that my opponent... I never did find out what my last opponent had. But I forgot to mention that Dynamic Punch is actually just as solid of an option for this league because of the power-up punch nerf. So, one of these Poliwraths I run into is actually going to have Dynamic Punch, and may or may not throw me off. Will be this one? We won't know, because it just finished me off with a Hydro Pump. Didn't need it. It's a Steelix. It shouldn't need it. So after that last match, I decided to change my team around a little. By which I mean replace Gardevoir with Alolan Raichu. And I think this is really where it begins to shine. Leading off with it as a lead, mostly to catch the Poliwrath off guard. I do make a weird play, because the real thing I wanted to do was swap over to my Poliwrath, but I was afraid that if I was the first one to make the switch, then he would switch to something to counter me. Granted though, I am still in a bit of a situation because I switched to something that didn't work that way and he still swapped to something that countered me. Yeah, this was a match where the Dynamic Punch kinda came into play. I'm not sure if it would really matter because my misplay didn't really do too much besides drain a shield. But I'm kinda not feeling too good about the position I'm in. Still, because my opponent swapped to counter my Steelix, I at least have some time to do some damage to this Poliwrath before it can swap with a different Pokemon, preferably to counter my Raichu. Which would have been okay if I actually shield that attack. Yeah, this is like coming down to my Poliwrath, and probably shouldn't if I actually played the game better. But, I mean, I feel pretty... There's still hope. Poliwrath doesn't resist the fighting type moves. So, in theory, I could build up my Poliwrath against his Poliwrath. Get such a huge attack boost that I can just sweep through the rest of the team. That'd be the best case scenario, but I do see that he has the Legacy Mud Shot. For those of you not following the Pokemon Go meta, there were some moves that they actually removed from the game in future generations. So I think Mud Shot was a move that Poliwrath could only learn before Gen 2 Pokemon came out in that. And it's a set-out move for Poliwrath because it allows you to get to your charge moves significantly faster than Bubble, if I'm not mistaken. And as you can see here, I'm still building up all my power-up punches, getting my attacks off. I could have gone for the Hydro Pump to finish off this Marowak, but I wanted to use the fact that I didn't really have a good option against it, or it didn't have a good option against me, to build up my power-up punches for the final Pokemon with the hopes that I could just unleash all my fast attacks to defeat it. Wasting the last shield, I do feel pretty good going for this Hydro Pump up. It's just a matter of getting to the energy before I go down, and it's a game. You can see how I was really hyped on Poliwrath after these past couple battles. After that one in particular, my ego was in a place where I did not think Poliwrath could lose. Thankfully, I'm sure I'll get humbled sooner or later. So, I decided to bring in the same team that I used in the last battle for this third and final match, or round. It does sound foolhardy, but in my head, I was convinced that my loss was due to misplace more so than the team I brought to fight against it. And sure enough, this will be a true test of if the electric moves really are just as good as Psychic. I guess Medicham is not a great example because the fighting resistance, the Psychic resistance counts out the fighting weakness. I know that seemed a little glitchy and like it did nothing, but I swear he did shield there. Now that was an interesting play in my eyes. He did the power-up punch all of a sudden to get power to swap out. I guess they were expecting that power-up punch would do a little bit more, or that something was up, because I definitely miss out in this exchange. Part of me feels like I should have shielded here so I could actually finish it off and still have my Raichu for Pokemon coming up. But I also kind of need my shields. Well, Poliwrath is a good candidate to use my shields on because the longer I keep it in play, the more powerful he becomes. But I also haven't really gotten good use out of Steelix yet, so it might be good to have shields for it as well. Now, as much as I want to keep my shields for later on, I do see the potential of the Shadow Ball there. So I decided to play it safe, and it did pay off. But now it's pretty much my power-up puncher against this power-up puncher. And one thing that I should have taken more into account is that it is part Psychic. So not only is it resisting my power-up punches, it's probably going to whittle me out really quickly with Confusion. And spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure that's what cost me this battle. Because I had to waste my shields on Psychics. I still was convinced of trying to save the day, but now I have no shields left to protect me from whatever it has in store, and I'll bet you it's a psychic. No, even more humiliating, it was a power-up punch. So I guess at this point, I go for the Hydro Pump, even though it's so weakened, because I need every little ounce of health I can get out of this Poliwrath. More so, actually be able to survive the Poliwrath. But, alas, I'm now stuck in a situation where it's my Steelix versus the Poliwrath, and I wonder who wins in this particular matchup. A matchup where it has both quick moves and charge moves that are all super effective against me. I'll admit, Thunderfang does make quick work out of it. I think that's one of the reasons I decided to carry it. But I think in order to win this matchup, you need shields, which I probably could have saved for this particular moment if I managed my shields a little bit better. But it is what it is. Honestly, I'm just happy this is going way better than when I did Twilight Cup. Or more so the Mirror Cup in Twilight Cup style in the previous tournament I was in. We can hope for better battles in the next set of matches. So onwards. So this is what my opponent has going into the final matches of this battle. Poliwrath, Cresselia, Drifbloom, Steelix, Lugia, and Alolan Marowak. Plenty of holes for my Alolan Raichu to squeeze in. At least what it seems. To the point where I'd be afraid not to be leading off with it. Actually, while I'm leveling with y'all, I'm quite nervous about that Lugia. There have been a couple cups where legendary's been allowed, but they've almost never make it into the recommendations, except for this cup. And I never fought against a Lugia in the Great League format, so I was quite nervous of how it worked out. With that said, you think I'd be a bit more cautious with my Raichu, considering how much of an advantage I have, not only in catching the Poliwrath, getting the switch advantage, but I really wanted to bait out a couple shields while I had this Raichu out, for better or for worse. When I don't see the shield come out right away, I do decide to spice things up by going for a wild charge, and it does work to my advantage. I do get a significant more chunk. I say that, but from the HP bar it looks the same. Wild charge looks like slightly more, but by how much? I guess it's more so the amount of energy it takes to get up to the charge move. Because, like, I'm already back up to Thunder Punch. So I go for it. It does work out to my advantage because the Cresselia is going to shield anyways. But I think it was in range to go down. Whether if it didn't shield. So it is what it is. I lose my Raichu, so hopefully that Poliwrath's the only thing I gotta worry about. But even if it's not, I'm still at a bit of a disadvantage. Because I'm going to have to use my shield to protect me. Because I've already lost so much ground. Probably could have blocked that Moonblast without taking any damage. Even without a shield. But it is what it is. At least I have a Shadow Ball ready for whatever it wants to send out next. And indeed it is the Poliwrath. But I'm going to go for the Bone Club. On the off chance that he decides to shield it. And it does work up to my advantage. Now that both shields are gone, I can at least go right for the Shadow Ball. Maybe get some solid damage off on this Poliwrath. And make something work out even though I'm in a disadvantage. Unfortunately, in order to do that, I probably have to protect this next attack. Or I could predict the power-up punch. That's one way I could turn this around, possibly. Is he really going to go for 2 power-up punches in a row, though? I mean, yes. We did just watch probably 2 battles in a row of me doing the same exact thing on my side of the field. And this is a bit tough of a situation. I think I am going to have to go for my shield, because if it doesn't go for the power-up punch, my Bastion would be down. And even if I didn't block it, I still got this gut feeling that I'd be taking way more damage than I like from a power-up punch with my double weakness. Unfortunately, though, we're back in the whole Bastiodon versus Steelix matchup with no shields. So take a wild guess at who's gonna win. I'll give you a hint. It's whoever can get the Earthquake first. And someone doesn't have Earthquake in their move pool, because Bastiodon can't learn it. The fact that I was even still standing for a second is amazement in and of itself. So yeah, props to my opponent. Looking back on it, I feel like there was a lot of ways I could have played better. But considering how Poliwrath was the only thing that I really had to worry about Raichu, I'm not sure exactly how much that would how much difference that would have made. My use of shields was much more vital, especially at the end. Having a shield to withstand Steelix long enough to get enough flamethrowers to take it out would have been the actual saving grace. Only thing I can think of is maybe if I played better with my Raichu, my Marowak would have had enough health to whittle down the Steelix a bit more. But foresight is 2020, I think is how the saying goes at least. Let's just go into the next match and see if it turns out any better. So, as a creature of habit, when I lose not using Poliwrath, it entices me to have it back in. Still, I want Raichu because I do not want to be caught off guard of not having a counter for that Lugia if it were to come out. I'm probably making a bigger deal of it than it actually is, but there's just so much on his team that's weak to Raichu that it just inclines me to keep it on there. And I don't know, Steelix should be good, but it's just not working out for me. So for this match, this particular battle, I decided to go back to using Bastiodon for that Steel/Anchor spot. And I feel like I'm playing a dangerous game here, doing a Diddle match against another Poliwrath. Especially one with the same moveset of my own, because we're going to just keep power punching off each other, and whoever ends up being the winner is going to have a very significant advantage for the rest of the match. Unfortunately, I have Hydro Pumps, so I don't feel like I have too many other options besides Power Up Punch, because the Poliwrath would be resisting that Hydro Pump. I feel like I kind of got played there when I saw the swap over to the Cresselia. Almost like the Poliwrath was just whittling me away. Still, maybe if I was a little more smart, I could have had a Hydro Pump ready for that thing. Thankfully, I think my Bastiodon does resist this Cresselia pretty well. And since he did the first swap, I do have to switch advantage. So he can't just swap into something to counter my Bastiodon. It's gotta stay here and take it out, or get taken out by it. I wouldn't say like a man, I wouldn't say like a duck. I don't know what to say. I just know it's probably gonna not enjoy eating these stone edges, and even if it wants a shield. I think SmackDown is doing so much, and its charge attacks are doing so little. If I really don't want to risk it, like shielding one of my charge attacks, I can just keep using Stone, or keep using SmackDown, and save my charge move for the next Pokemon coming out, whatever it may be, with the hopes that that alone would give me a significant advantage in this particular battle. And it's the Steelix. And I swear I've hit Flamethrower like twice, and did a fast move instead. So I guess my idea was to try to go for a Flamethrower, then swap out of here before I could do an Earthquake. What I didn't really keep in mind was how weak my Poliwrath was, but I got shields, I can go for it. There's a slight chance I probably could have survived that crunch too, and that's the most frustrating thing. That Poliwrath came back out. I guess I'm going to try to go for one more Power Up Punch and see if I can quickly get enough of my charge move up to just take out the Poliwrath with a Hydro Pump. Though Power Up Punch probably would work too. Unfortunately, my opponent has another Power Up Punch ready to go. Do I shield this, or do I just take it? Yeah, I just take it because it's definitely going to be way more valuable to have the shield for whatever his last Pokemon may be. Oh yeah, it's the Steelix. And honestly, I would say it's a situation where it might have been good to have Psychic, but honestly the Steelix resists that too, so that's not really a good option. Oh, I forgot how freaking frail Raichu is, but still, it's for the best I didn't waste my shield there. So, I got one shield, barely any health against the Steelix. Thankfully, it at least seems like it's been using up its power-up juice, we'll call it, on Crunch, so it does have to work its own way back up to an Earthquake. Is it going to go for Crunch or is it going to go for Earthquake? This may determine whether or not I win this match. It does keep going for the Crunches quite a bit. I think we're both out of shields, so it would just be a war of nutrition. And my Flamethrowers cost less energy to power up than its Earthquake. So it's a matter of if I can get another Flamethrower before the Earthquake comes. Or maybe a Crunch would be enough to take me out. I'll just barely survive, but... and I went down right at the timer. So, I officially lost that match, but since Silph League matches are now 3 battles no matter what, we can at least have a little fun, experiment with this final round, try some different things. Okay, maybe not try completely different things, but I could at least experiment with my combinations, try to learn a little bit more about the Pokemon that I have and what they're good against. Poliwrath is just too valuable though, and I do want to keep Raichu in the party to scare out any sort of other things they could bring, like this Drifloon for example. At least now we're actually going to see Raichu really shine. Because yeah, Raichu is part Psychic, and the Ghost would do extra damage against me. But Drifloon is also Psychic, or I mean Flying type. So if it doesn't shield, I can pretty much like play it like a fiddle. So we're pretty much playing like the glass game. We're both very strong against each other, but we're also very weak against each other. Would be a little... wow, see, that was a Thunder Punch. That wasn't even the stronger of my 2 moves. Oh yeah, I forgot. Having Grass Knot over Thunder Punch may have helped in that one particular situation I was up against the Steelix. But I think like just having the option to just destroy shields was a little bit more valuable to me than coverage. And we're at this song and dance again, where having the Poliwrath Diddle match. Maybe I can at least learn something this time, or maybe I get foolhardy again and try to build up my attack by just power-up punching this Poliwrath over and over again. The world may never know how dumb I am. It did actually block one of my power-up punches. To be fair, that's the most ideal situation to get a power-up punch off on, because the move isn't that strong, especially after the nerf. So if you can waste an opponent's shield, you get the best of both worlds. You get your attack boost, and you get one less shield to worry about. So my opponent just did to me the thing that I was warning you about, this thing I was thinking about in my commentary that I could do to actually win the Poliwrath Diddle match. So now I am at a huge disadvantage of using my fire type against a water type. I think I pretty much gotta use my shield here, or I'm gonna loosen on Marowak. Or I could go for another power-up punch. This is still anyone's game. I guess we're gonna see just how good Alolan Marowak is against the Steelix. Because I have one shield, he has no shields, but I also have no health. And honestly though, that situation with Bone Club is not looking too promising. that has super effective damage, and yet it did so little. I do have super effective with my quick move, at least. But I go for the bold play of, like, going for Shadow Ball. Oh, wait, it may have actually been the smart play. My bad. I've been watching a lot of Gen 4 videos lately. And in the games before Gen 5, Pokemon Black, Pokemon White, every video game before those, Steel actually resisted Ghost-type moves. Actually, when you think more about it, no. It was in the 6th generation, when they introduced the Fairy-type, that they messed around with exactly what Steel was strong or weak against. In those older games, it would actually resist Ghost, but I guess because they gave Steel some more offensive options by introducing the Fairy-type, they felt like in order to keep Steel from being too powerful, they would take away some of its resistances. In my opinion, that's kind of like the whole point of Steel, though. Not necessarily being an offensive powerhouse, but resisting so many different types. But that could be something that could go on. And we're already at the end of these battles. Don't want to chew your ear off with too much of nothing going on in the visual background. Either way, though, thank you all for tuning in for these battle videos. It's been a little bit, but I think I'm going to be able to get back into the at least one tournament a month grind. So I encourage you to tune in for the Ferocious Cup when I go through it. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be the first meta of Silph League that's not based around types. Instead, it has a theme. Long story short, basically bi-quad animal-like Pokemon. But I'll go more into that when we actually talk about Ferocious Cup, because especially if I share my opinions, we could go all day on that. In the meantime, I encourage you to check out my YouTube channel. Subscribe to get the videos to show up on your feed. If you want to get notifications when videos are live, that's what the bell is for. I do a variety of gaming stuff on my channel, but if you're just here for Pokemon Go, have no fear. I try to upload a Pokemon Go themed video, whether it be my podcast or these PvP battles, every Monday. But if you want more details on exactly what I do, what days, I encourage you to check out my site. URL will be in the description, and you can also keep track through social media. I'll try to have the most recent link towards my Twitter and that in the video. However, I have been going through some things with that lately, so I encourage you to just check out the site and go to the Twitter button there, because that will be up to date with the Twitter I'm actually using at the moment, for sure. Sorry to gnaw your ear out on that. Thank you all for listening, and hope to see you for the next one. Take care.